I was learning about this position, a little bit northwest. I know how cold in this part. In my memory, I spent my childhood in northern part. In my memory, no summer all year round, just like winters. So very cold and high altitude. That's why not many people living in northern part. Although it's very vast in size, right? Yeah. Okay, and then let's look at the eastern part of Tibet here. This part is the lowest in altitude. The altitude is just below 9,000 feet. We also call the eastern part of Tibet the forest region. There are a lot of trees and forests. So if you have chance to come to the eastern part of Tibet, and then you'll find all the mountains here are covered with green trees. It's beautiful, different from the other parts of Tibet. In most parts of Tibet, most of the mountains are bare mountains. It's also true in Lhasa. But here, in the eastern part of Tibet, green mountains. Yeah. And then in the trees and forests, there are many wild beasts and animals. Even now, like tigers, leopards, lions, all kinds of monkeys, all kinds of
lions?
Yes, lions, tigers. Yes, here
lions.
it is. Yes, yeah, lions. Yeah. And also, we can say all kinds of monkeys. And there are all kinds of snakes, birds, yes, because there are more trees and forests. And many of them kind of virgin trees. Because of those precious animals here, and also we can say many virgin trees. Now, some places in this part have already been protected by the government. So I think that's very good for us Tibetan people. And then another thing I want to mention is the climate in this part. The climate in the eastern part is also different from the other parts. Okay, here, humid, warmer. But in some other parts of Tibet, dry, cold. So now you see, in this part, in the eastern part of Tibet, a lower altitude, there are many trees and better climate. So because of this reason, now many Han Chinese are living in this part of Tibet. When Han Chinese, come to Tibet, now there are a lot of Han Chinese in Tibet. They mostly like to choose to live and work in this part. You see, they can get used to this kind of a place compared with other parts. So it's kind of a special part in Tibet. Yeah. Okay, then let's finally look at the central part of Tibet here, the most important part. The altitude of this part is between 9,000 feet to 12,000 feet. So in Tibet, it's not very high, not very low, compared with the other two parts. Yeah. And we also call the central part the agricultural region. We can say most people in this part are peasants or farmers. They make living, on doing farming. They grow kinds of crops like barley, wheat, rapeseed, bean. Also, people also grow kinds of vegetables. In Tibet, there are many like potato, tomato, radish, cabbage. Yeah. So not so many varieties of vegetables can be grown in Tibet, only some kinds. And of course, people also have raised livestock in central part. There are also yak, and there are cow, sheep, and pig, chicken. So peasants or farmers here in the central part mainly live on them. And then I want to say, compared with the other two parts, the central part of Tibet is the center of Tibet's economy, culture, and religion. We can say like this. For example, the three largest cities of Tibet all are in the central part. Now we are in Lhasa city. It is the first largest city. On the map here, okay, Lhasa. the first largest city, and then about this position, the second largest city. We call it Shikaze city. And here, the third largest one, Hoka city. So there are three largest cities, all are in the central part of Tibet. And also, just now I mentioned, central part of Tibet is the center of religion. That's mainly because those most important monasteries and temples of Tibet are in this part. So every year, thousands of Tibetan pilgrims from the other parts will come to the central part to visit monasteries and temples, and many tourists from many other countries, and many come to the central part. So there are a lot of people. Yeah. And they also want to mention you one thing. We say in whole China, the total Tibetan population is 4.9 million. But I have to say among them, nearly half of Tibetans live outside of Tibet Autonomous Region. They mainly live in 4 provinces of China. Now please look at the map. The 4 provinces of China, all along the side of Tibet, outside of Tibet Autonomous Region, like about this position, Qinghai Province, Gansu Province, and then Sichuan Province. I'm sure you know Sichuan, right? You just flew from Chengdu, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
Chengdu is kind of capital city of Sichuan Province, okay, about the side of Tibet, and Yunnan Province. So there are 4 provinces around the side of Tibet. There are nearly half of Tibetans.
Why did they move out of Tibet?
Actually, before 17th century, all these places were part of Tibet. Tibet was very large in size at that time. And then in the 17th century, so at that time, Emperor of Qing dynasty of China and the Dalai Lama of Tibet had very good relationship. And at Tibet, at that time, according to their agreement, Tibet became smaller. Okay, and some other parts of Tibet became part of the Qing dynasty. So that's why those Tibetan people still living around here. So they didn't move inside. So that's why.
In the 17th century.
Yes, 17th century.
17th century, by agreement, not by war.
Not by war. So at that time, they had a very good relationship. Yeah. And also, at that time, Qing Emperor offered Dalai Lama title and did a lot of things at that time. Yeah. So it's not kind of a war. Yeah. So in this way, we can say inside Tibet Autonomous Region, the population is over 2.6 million, a little bit over 2.6 million. And among them, among their 2.6 million, most of Tibetan people, over half of them, are in the central part of Tibet. So from this you also see, central part is very important part compared with the other 2. Yeah. Okay, so it's just kind of a very brief introduction of geography of Tibet. Not detail, just brief introduction. In this way you can, just briefly understand Tibet. At your first day in Tibet, maybe, on your first day. Yeah. Okay, so it's geography. And then I'm going to